Good morning. Today is Thursday, October 11, 2018. We're just blazing through October, aren't we? What's funny? Um, Literally, like maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes after, like nothing, like the vlog I posted yesterday where I was like, oh, nothing's happening. I got in an argument with like a student I didn't even know. So here's what happened. I was like doing some stuff. I was trying to get some errands done. And then I saw this kid on top of my classroom. He just sticks his head through the window of a coworker. And I'm like, that's not right. And like, I don't know. This is gonna be the subject of the video where I basically talk about like I made maybe three major mistakes. I'd say over yesterday, and it really made me think. So it was a big thing. It was like the mistake wasn't going up to the student and telling them to stop, but I think my reaction was a little too intense, and it triggered him, and as a result, I had to like switch on that more caring mode, and I had to like talk my way out of it, and we ended up like making up and things, but like things were said out of his anger and even out of mine. Sad thing was like this really wasn't his fault. I mean, sure, he was sticking out his head into a window and disrupting a class, but my reaction was like, oh, I'll send you to Mr. Flynn, blah blah blah, and that's not me. And that's the thing. Yesterday, I felt like I wasn't me. There was something off about it. Like I was making bad calls, and not just that. And it kind of affected me just because he was like saying, "How is this even logical?" Blah 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 blah. He was really upset, and that logical part sticks to me because I don't like it when people talk about like logic. Okay, my wife says like things like, "Oh, the stuff you say is not logical." And it's like, yeah, that's fine though, because I know I'm not logical some days when it comes to my wife. But then again, when is a guy ever logical around his wife, right? But in the general context, I'm usually a pretty logical, very reasonable person. So whenever a kid is just like blurting out like this is not logical, it's like in my head I was like, this kid doesn't even know the first thing about logic. And it's like he was arguing like, oh, this girl stuck her hand out and I had to say hi. What, would you want me not to do that? So that's so like inconsiderate. And I'm like at the same time like, boy, you stuck your head through the window, just disrupt class. It's like I wasn't disrupting class. And it's like, you know what? So anyway, I basically like the teacher did come and say it's like, oh, he wasn't disrupting, and I was like, okay, fine. So I said I apologized, said I was being a jerk, got to know his name, and and I was like, and I explained to him like, when you stick your head out like that, from my angle as a teacher, I'm gonna say, I was like, dude, you're like being disruptive. That's like the first assumption I take. Now it ended up, it ended positively, and for me being me, I like to think about these things. And it's just who I am. It's a response to these things. So I was kind of thinking about it. It occasionally bothered me. My pride hurt a bit, just because, like a kid was like just basically was just shouting me down, and I don't like being shouted down, especially since I know I'm right. And it's just like typical adult conversation. When you're shouting someone down, it doesn't really work in terms of in discussion, but the kid's just a kid, so you gotta put up with that. But here's the thing, okay? That's the expected thing. All this stuff that I did was expected. His reaction was expected because I was being so rude. That's the really thing. I was rude. Another kid, like literally like 10 minutes before, some kid was apparently helping, and in my opinion the kid wasn't really helping, he was making it worse. So I like blurted out like, you're not really helping, that. And he got mad. He walked off and yelled, and I didn't care. But I was being rude too. That's not me. That's the thing. There's something going on, and I think it has to do with just I've been sitting in a lot of these meetings, and not just with my coworkers, but with like parent meetings. I've been just being exposed to so many challenging things and seeing so many challenging parts of a person's life that it's starting to affect me. And when that kid was like yelled me down, it was a good centering for me. It was like, dude, you're making a mistake that you usually don't make. There's something going on right now. And I really started thinking, I'm using this as my jumping off. Like, there's something wrong. Like, I am not performing as I should be as an educator. So like, it's gonna keep. I'll probably occasionally think about it. Like, I'll probably keep going back to the whole logical thing because that really does bother me. It's like, "Urgh," it makes me mad. But I already know it was my fault. I walked into it. Honestly, I could have walked in there, and if I was more polite, I wouldn't have done right. It would have been fine. But my head wasn't in the right spot. I'd argue my head might not be in the right spot still. So, I'm working towards trying to figure it out. Maybe, like, I told my wife, like, you know what? I told my wife about my experience today. But I said today, I'm going to wake up and be more positive. Because I'm not going to, like, let that happen again. Because that really sucks. That really sucked. What else? Yeah, that feels good to talk about just because, yeah, it just sucks. It's funny because it happened during seventh period. That's my prep, yeah, and I'm always so mindful about those kind of moments. And a moment of mindlessness just got it. I'm like, dang it. Yeah. What's on the docket though? So only a few more. With only Thursday and Friday. Today we have to do some kind of digital lesson on stuff about being a digital citizen. I'm like, oh, okay, I think I'm a shoo-in for this. I'm a pretty good digital citizen. I've survived my fair share of flame wars, and I've gotten into arguments about who should be dating who in my favorite anime. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what this lesson entails. I think it'll be pretty good. I think it'll be fun. Kind of thinking about some like really key students that have been really disruptive. Hopefully, and, some things like some of these kids kind of ruin my fun sometimes, but I guess like if I really work hard on them, it'll eventually be fun. It's part of being patient and stuff. But yeah. Anyway, I think that's all I really wanted to talk about. I really got to clean up my classroom and organize my grading. That's been the big thing. I got a ton of stuff. And that's probably why I'm being so rude and just getting so rude and so like hard to deal with lately. It's just stress is getting to me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm procrastinating. I'm just worrying about money. I'm telling my wife stuff. I'm not saying things. I'm just being a worrywart right now, and like all I can do is like work out and work out. Just that's my way right now. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.